I'm pretty lenient when it comes to animated films, by which I mean I'm just really easily pleased. So I thought I would check out the new 2022 Tom and Jerry film, Tom and Jerry Cowboy Up. And unfortunately, having watched it, I can now say that this is actually really poor for multiple reasons. The first reason is that the actual animation itself is not very good. The foreground, the characters in the foreground look okay, Tom and Jerry look as they should, but the background just doesn't look like a lot of effort was put in at all. And I'm not an animator, so I very rarely look at an animated film and think that's not good because I'm not skilled in it. But with this, I could tell straight away that the background just wasn't as good of a quality as it could be, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was a budgeting issue, a timing issue, if it was just rushed, or if they think they decided to make the background not as sharp as the foreground for some kind of effect. But if that is what they did, I feel like it hasn't worked. It just doesn't feel very good quality at all. It feels very low budget. I don't know what the budget was, but that shouldn't make a difference because you can make really quality animations on not a very high budget. I've seen low budget animations that are actually really good. So that's one reason why I didn't think it worked. The other reason is the narrative. The narrative is set in the Wild West, which is something that I love. I'm a big fan of Western films, and animation based Westerns are always pretty good fun. But this one we have, well, I'll read the description from IMDb. And this says the film finds the duo, Tom and Jerry, in the Wild West, where they help save a ranch from the hands of a villain. The rivals team up to help a cowgirl and her brother save their homestead from a greedy land grabber. So we have an individual who's trying to buy out this land or steal it from them, and people are going to perhaps lose their home. Tom and Jerry, two arch enemies, might have to team up to try and save the day. It sounds interesting. It isn't. The execution of the narrative is so boring. It starts off with this song, which I love songs in animation. If they're good songs, I really enjoy that. Didn't work here. There were a couple of songs in this. None of them were very engaging, and it starts off not feeling like a Tom and Jerry film. And throughout it, Tom and Jerry might as well not be in it because it doesn't feel like Tom and Jerry. And when they're in it, the characters look like Tom and Jerry, but they don't really behave like Tom and Jerry. And I've seen various other Tom and Jerry films, and it's not just the case that the films are different to the TV shows, because while they are usually different, you still usually feel like you're watching Tom and Jerry. That's not the case here. The characters secondary, no, the characters are tertiary. They don't need to be in this at all, and I feel like they've just created a very low budget, rushed animation, whacked in Tom and Jerry so that there is actually a pull factor. Because let's face it, if this was just a random animation about the Wild West with some random characters we'd never heard of, it definitely would not get the time of day from most people. And I just feel really disappointed by it. Sure, it's a universal, it's suitable for very young children, but the thing about Tom and Jerry is that it also has a lot of nostalgic appeal. And I love animations. I'm a big kid. Animations are some of my favourite films. So it's not so much that it wasn't ever going to appeal to me because I'm older. I just think that it's not very well developed. The narrative isn't that interesting. The Tom and Jerry aspect isn't very well incorporated at all. The songs in it aren't that engaging. The animation style in the backgrounds are not good at all. The foreground's fine. The characters in the foregrounds, things that we see close up, they've definitely put attention to detail in. But the backgrounds just feel rushed. So, unfortunately, I don't really have that many positive things to say about it. I'm trying to think of a positive thing, and I can't really think of anything positive to say at all, to be honest. And that's unusual for me with an animation. I guess the positive thing is that it would appeal to very young children who don't have any expectations because they haven't seen an abundance of animation. Maybe they've never seen Tom and Jerry before, but please don't give this to a child as their first look at Tom and Jerry. That would be a terrible idea. They should never be anybody's first introduction, or only introduction, to Tom and Jerry, because they will predictably not go on to like Tom and Jerry. It's not very good at all. I didn't expect a marvel, I didn't expect a masterpiece, but I did expect something that was watchable, and I just found that this was messy, rushed, kinda lazy, not very well developed, and really overall just a big disappointment.